Don't open it. Don't go out there.
What? Why? Dude, I gotta go to the bathroom. Just let me go.
The air is toxic. Because aliens.
That's ridiculous. You're being stupid, Batman.
Wait, no. Don't go out there. Oh, God.
What is that? It smells like crap.
Yeah. Bad crap.
How did you... I don't even understand how you're capable of doing that. You're plastic and you're this big.
To be honest with you, I have no idea.
Oh. Well, looks like we're gonna be in here for a while. You wanna do a puzzle-making montage to, like, 70s pop music?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, well, that's just like your opinion, man.
10 Cloverfield Lane was directed by Dan Trachtenberg and it stars Mary Elizabeth Winstead, John Gallagher Jr., and John Goodman. Now the really big question about this movie is this a sequel to the original Cloverfield movie? I don't really want to say it's a sequel, and I really don't want to say it's a spin-off, because it's hard to tell. It's really, really confusing where this movie lays in the Cloververse, but I'm going to use producer J.J. Abrams' own words. It's a blood relative. So there's like hints of Cloverfield in it, but it's not like a main Cloverfield movie. So do not go into this movie thinking it's this big blockbuster giant kaiju movie where, Cloverfield's knocking down the Statue of Liberty. Nothing like that. And I will say that I really didn't like the original Cloverfield movie. I am not a big fan of found footage. I get really confused. I get disoriented. I feel like I'm going to throw up. It's not a good time for me, found footage movies. And I will say that this is a much, much different movie than the original Cloverfield, and I friggin' loved it. 10 Cloverfield Lane is actually a spin-off of the old sitcom Roseanne. It follows John Goodman's character of Dan as he tries desperately to hide from Roseanne after eating the last piece of pizza.
Steve, will you come down here for a minute? Sweetie!
But actually...
Really, all the story that you need going into this movie is all featured in the trailer. That first initial trailer that came out. You remember that? It was a good trailer. Now I'm going to leave a link to that trailer in the description because I feel like that's the only thing you need to see and know going into this movie, because it's a much better experience only having that. The female lead in this movie is played by Mary Elizabeth Winstead, and she plays Michelle. You probably know her as Ramona Flowers from Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, which is a really good friggin' movie, and I think I might do a review of that coming up. Mary Elizabeth Winstead is a very, very underrated actress. She's good in pretty much anything she does, and I've honestly had a little bit of a crush on her since the made-for-TV movie Sky High. Remember that Disney movie, Sky High? Yeah, Mary Elizabeth Winstead, Ramona Flowers, she was in that. Look it up. I will say, this is probably her best performance yet. It was such a powerhouse performance. Like, she knocked it out of the ballpark, and it was so freaking good. And it was really refreshing to see this type of character in a movie and see her portrayed well. Because this movie could have very well been just another cliche horror movie with another cliche horror actress, Not once in the movie was I screaming at her, "No, don't do that, you stupid, and stop it, stop doing that!" Because she was actually smart. She was a smart female character, which was just really cool. And she was played really, really well. Now this might be a little bit of a jump. I might be exaggerating a little bit here. But oh well, this is my channel. I say that Mary Elizabeth Winstead's Michelle in 10 Cloverfield Lane is our generation's Ellen Ripley from the Alien trilogy. Yeah, that's right, I called it a trilogy. There's only 3 movies that are important in that entire saga. It's 3 movies. It's 3 movies. And John Gallagher Jr.'s character of Emmett was kind of the comic relief of the movie. He wasn't, super fleshed out like the other 2 characters were, but John Gallagher played it well enough that he was just a really likable guy, even though we didn't see much of his past. I wanted to be best buds with this dude. He just seemed like a really cool guy to be around. And he had this way of, relieving the tension. There were a lot of scenes in this movie where he had me laughing, but it wasn't like laughing because he was legitimately funny. He was laughing because the scene was so tense, and I didn't know what else to do other than nervously laugh. Just, one of those, Oh, don't kill them. And most of the tension brought on in this movie was all done by John Goodman's Howard. I will say that this is probably in John Goodman's, like, top 5 performances of all time. You know, you could say that John Goodman was at his John Bestman.
What? No, you did that joke 2 videos ago.
Yeah, but nobody watched that.
By the way, it's a stupid joke. Stop telling it.
I'm gonna tell that joke as many times as I'm gonna review a movie with John Goodman in it.
I hate you so much.
With John Goodman, you tend to expect a certain type of character, but Howard was something else entirely. You really lose John Goodman in this performance, which is really, really cool to say. Like, I forgot that this guy was John Goodman. I'm not saying he's typecast, but you just expect a certain type of role from John Goodman, you know? And I won't say that John Goodman was the villain of this movie, because he didn't play it as just a bad guy. He was just a really, really strange man. Everything he did just left you unhinged because you had no idea what he was going to do next, which made the entire movie just really, really exciting. And to pull off a movie with this kind of tension, you need a director that can really do it. And boy, did they have one. Dan Trachtenberg was masterful at directing this movie. And remember that name, Dan Trachtenberg. I will place a bet down that this guy is going to do something really, really big in the film industry in the near future. This was his very first feature film debut. Before this, he did a little short film for the video game Portal, which was also really, really well done. You should go check that out too. He handled tension in this movie like a modern day Alfred Hitchcock. Another really cool thing, in an interview, Dan Trachtenberg said that the tension in this movie was inspired by video games, such as Naughty Dog's Uncharted and Naughty Dog's The Last of Us. 2 very good games, Last of Us being one of my favorites. That made me really, really happy that we now have, like, a gamer director, which, I mean, we have before, but this guy's like the real deal. And he handles filmmaking like a friggin' pro. And as I said before, this movie could have very easily been just another totally run-of-the-mill horror movie, but it wasn't. It was a very well done, very intense thriller. This movie was mentally and physically exhausting. Like, there were so many twists, so many just very, very tense moments where I was sweating. In the movie theater, I was sweating because I was worried for these characters, which says a lot about everyone involved in making this movie. So a long time ago, this movie was actually a script titled The Cellar, and then eventually Valencia. And they had the actors in place. And they approached J.J. Abrams to see if he would produce it. And he looked at it, and he was like, hey, I want this to be in the Cloverfield universe, you know, the Cloververse. Let's make that happen. So he added some writers to tweak some things, and then gave the movie a $15 million budget. Remember how I was talking about Deadpool's budget being really, really low? Well, that movie was made with $56 million. 10 Cloverfield Lane, $15 million. My only big thing with this movie is I don't know if it really needed the Cloverfield title. Like, I appreciate how this movie was done, which was very, very well. I remember waking up one morning and seeing in my YouTube subscriptions 10 Cloverfield Lane trailer, first trailer, and thinking that it was just going to be like, you know, another cash grab sequel, like, oh god, another Cloverfield movie. And I clicked on it thinking, well, let's see how terrible this is going to be. And I was totally enthralled with the trailer. And this came out like only 2 months ago. Remember that. Cloverfield is a big enough movie that, you know, usually with a movie like this, if a sequel were to come out, we would have all known all of the actors, everything about it, seen set photos, seen little teaser trailers, like 5 or 8 months ago. The fact that we can still make a movie in secret, have the trailer release, and then have the movie come out only 2 months later is amazing. That adds so much mystery behind the movie, and it just helped it so much. But still, I have to wonder how cool it would have been if Cloverfield was not in the title. Like, if you were watching the movie just as a normal movie titled The Cellar, and then out of nowhere, boom, that Cloverfield, you know, little hint, little tie-in comes in, and you're like, what? That would have been a really cool experience. But that's just me thinking about what if. I don't know what would have happened if that actually was the case. One of my friends that went with me to see this movie had no idea what Cloverfield was. She had not seen the original. She had never even heard of the original. So when the Cloverfield tie-in did come in, She was really, really confused, but she still accepted it. Like, that tie-in does kind of just, like, punch you in the face all of a sudden, but it works with the type of movie that this was, because it's just punch after punch, and it's exhausting. It's an exhausting movie, but that's really, really cool that a movie can have you that, you know, plugged in, that you actually get exhausted by the end of it. So I guess when the Cloverfield tie-in does come in, it could turn a lot of people off, just because that's not really the type of movie that this is all the way through. But I honestly really, really respect the way that that happened. Another little problem that I had with this movie was I don't know if I'm going to have, well, I know for a fact, I'm not going to have the same experience watching it a second time. You know, those plot twists won't have the same punch that they did the first time I watched it. So I'll have to see it again to know for sure how much I really love this movie. But either way, the performances were great, the directing was great, the writing was great. The music was done by The Walking Dead's Bear McCreary. Dude just knows how to do a musical score. Like, it was really well done, and again, it could have been just another cliched horror movie score, but he added something unique to it, which was just really cool. So go see this movie, and cherish that experience. I swear to God, it's like running a marathon. Like, you're gonna be drenched in sweat by the end of it, which is really awesome. I'm going to give 10 Cloverfield Lane an 8.5 out of 10. It is not Cloverfield 2. Do not think that going into this. Appreciate this movie as something by itself. Try not to think about the Cloverfield title while you're watching it. And if you were a huge fan of Cloverfield, I'm not going to promise that you're going to like this one, but if you're a fan of good movies, you're going to like this one. But once again, thank you for watching. We finally hit 100 subscribers, which is really cool. Still have no idea what I'm going to do for this special video, but I'll figure something out. Also, a friend of mine who owns the District Theater down in Rock Island, Tristan Tapscott. He has a little show called Pocket Full of Animal Crackers. You can check that out, and yours truly was recently on it. I'll leave a link in the description down below for his videos. And like, maybe our videos will like link up together, you know, like they'll come out at the same time, which will be really cool because it'll be a nice tie-in. We'll both give each other views, and it'll be just a really good time. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'm still kind of sick filming this, so thank you for bearing through my nostrily voice with me. Anyway, as always,
Watch movies, my friends.